but you know in your heart you really haven't forgiven that person. And it's I always say it's like forgiveness can be like a that wound that festers and you never have completely healed from it.
Like, are you woman enough or man enough to come to me and say, you hurt my feelings? You did this thing.
But deep down in your heart, it's a reason why that thing hurts you so bad because you love them and you want that relationship and you don't want that relationship to end, but it is easier to walk away than to acknowledge the hurt. We are so quick to just cut it off instead of dealing with the conflict. We don't like the conflict resolution.
Mm-mm.
We don't want the confrontation.
Mhm.
It is easier just to cut the person off. And if we go through life doing that, I think you said it earlier, Kelly, we're just leaving a bunch of bodies behind. There is a cure to it, and the cure is confrontation.
Period.
Now, a flip side is my experience is when you lose a loved one and there are things that have not been said or things that needed to be said, but you decide not to that resolution, not to go there because you don't know how they're going to take it. You don't know if they're going to understand what your feelings are about that one or how they made you feel, and then they pass on. And you can't even grieve appropriately because you're holding on or things are now festering inside and you don't know how to release it. We all want the roses. We don't want to hurt people. We don't want to offend people. And sometimes it's just easier to gloss over it. But we know what happens when you keep glossing over and you keep glossing over. You're just building, the wound is getting bigger. It's a silent wound that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
All right. Okay, ladies. So today we are going to talk about the many faces of forgiveness. And by the way, if you are enjoying our show, please share. Please share with your friends, your families, those that are connected to you. Um, Make sure that you like us. Make sure that you subscribe. We are on YouTube. We're on Spotify, all the major ones, Apple. So please go in and uh, like us. Okay. So I'm going to share a quick story about a situation where I was talking to you guys about this earlier. I actually didn't know that this was a person that I needed to forgive. And the thing about it is this person's not even here. So my mom, she passed in 92. And she passed from breast cancer. And man, so maybe about 4 years ago. So that was she passed in 92. So about 4 years ago, um, I was speaking with my therapist and some things that we were talking about. All of a sudden, I realized that I was upset with her.
Mm.
She didn't go to the doctor and she should have. She had a lump in her breast that you could see from the other side of the room, which means that she felt it
Mhm.
long before that. And even then, she didn't go. Um, and so whether she was afraid or whatever the case may be, I'm not saying that this is the truth. I'm just saying apparently felt like
Mm-hmm.
had she went to the doctor, she would be with us today. And so I was upset with her and I had to forgive her. And the other thing about that was she wasn't here for me to get closure from her. And I think that that's another thing with forgiveness. That's one of the faces of forgiveness that, or the process of forgiveness, is that a lot of times we are looking to the person who did the fault to us, um, and we're expecting them to bring the closure when a lot of times it doesn't happen that way. So tell me, what is your thoughts on forgiveness? We'll just start there. What does forgiveness mean to you? Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, I'm Andrea. And we have Melissa here, and then we have Kelly. So I'll let you guys take it from there.
When I think of first, thank you for sharing your story. There are so many faces to forgiveness and what it means, and um, how do you move forward? How do you have positive closure? Because many times we can have closure on a thing to say, I forgive them, but I don't have to deal with them anymore.
Mhm,
Mm.
mhm,
So, really looking at, do you really forgive, and how do you forgive, and what truly forgiveness is, I will say it's not easy when you truly forgive. It's really looking at, did I go through the process, and I am I at a place where I can truly forgive that individual and move forward. And it's difficult, as you mentioned, the person may no longer be here. The person could still be here, but are you going through the steps of forgiveness? And can you truly, truly forgive? Because it's easy to say, I forgive. Oh, I forgive you. It's over.
Mhm.
But you know in your heart, you really haven't forgiven that person. And it's I always say, it's like forgiveness can be like that wound that festers, and you never have completely healed from it.
That's good, Melissa. Thank you for sharing your story. Um, Forgiveness sometimes is like grieving, and you have to go through the steps and the process, and there is no right or wrong to grieve, as is there's no right or wrong to forgive, but the goal is to get past, honor, even honor yourself,
Mhm.
and transition to what that new looks like. And that new could be in a friendship where you start all over again. You now have an understanding, on how to treat one another, how to support one another. And then sometimes it may be that you have to transition away, which is difficult.
Mhm.
But for the health of yourself and your being, that sometimes is what you may have to do. But forgiveness, it can be tricky. Um, but it also comes with maturity.
mhm,
Mhm.
Because as I look at my phases of forgiveness over time, we talked about this offline. I can quickly leave you and not think anything more of
Yeah.
it. But as I've gotten older, that doesn't work.
Mhm.
And you're just leaving just bodies, and you're not learning anything from it either. And so, one of the things about life is life lessons, learning how to put up with other people, and learning how to forgive people.
Mhm.
mhm. Yeah. Um the process of forgiveness is there is grief. And let's face it, y'all, you're not gonna be in a position where you feel like you need to forgive somebody that you don't know, or that you don't have
Mhm.
some type of intimate relationship, because if they did a fault to you, for the most part, I should say that. If they did a fault to you, it is probably somebody that you feel like, wow, I never thought you would do that to me, you know? So it's going to be hard to walk away, I mean, you can say, as you said, I forgive you, right? But I do want to say that you can be committed. And I feel like now this is how I feel. if I want to heal, then I can be committed to healing.
Mhm.
And to me, that is, I have made a decision to forgive.
Mhm.
I've made a decision to heal from this right here, whatever this relationship, and to go into a new relationship with this person. Whether it be I'm still with you or I'm not with you,
Mm-hmm.
that's still gonna be,
Yeah.
it's still gonna be a relationship, But I have committed, and I really feel like, just as this is my opinion, that people need to understand that it is just a commitment to heal.
Mhm.
And not to throw your hands, and that's why it helps you. Not to throw your hands up, not to put your head in the sand. I forgot what you said. You said you made a comment about, when you said, I should be better than this, because we say that, right?
Yeah.
Because, with my 52-year-old self, I shouldn't be tripping this way. And so then what you do is you just close yourself off from it, right? But you never can have any type of relationship with that person. They come into the room and you are trying to act like you don't see them. That, where is the honor in that? Even for yourself, where is the honor in that? And it is grief.
Mhm.
It is grief. Even after you have decided to heal, you still have to deal with the grief.
Right.
And it's the grief part that ain't gonna leave quick. And I
Mhm.
think we also need to understand that and accept that. Give ourselves permission to just go through the grief part of losing a relationship that we once had. Because
Mhm.
that is not, you're not gonna have that no more
Yeah.
because of what happened, right?
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that you can't have a better. I have relationships with people that we have forgiven each other, and our relationship is better. It's
Mhm.
closer because of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably because we talked that thing out.
Right.
And that's the other thing. Come on, communication, right?
Right.
Like, are you woman enough or man enough to come to me and say, you hurt my feelings? You did this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if it's really, even if it's heinous, and that doesn't mean that it's going to be a quick thing, but be open to the fact that you actually need to be able to get that out of you.
Mhm.
You need to articulate what happened so that you can get it out of you. And then the last point I want to make, and then I'm sure, because I can see y'all's eyes, y'all can be like, oh, I got something to say. I can see,
Dancing
I
eyes.
can see, like, I got to say, I'm trying to hold on to it. When she finished, okay, I got to come back to this.
That's
But
funny.
it's grief. Because it's grief, we have to be careful not to, what is called, um, marinate in it. That's not the word I'm trying to look for. It's another word. Oh man, I can't think of the word, but we have to make sure that we're not marinating or continuing to relive it because it's grief, right? So I've accepted that I have said that I'm going to heal, but I still have this broken heart from it. And then if you're not careful, you will continue to relive it. So then I continue to get upset with you over. It's continuing to be new to me
Mhm.
over and over and over again, which is another reason why you have to articulate it. You got to get it out. You got to communicate, even if it's not with a person. Just communicate with someone that you feel safe with, because then there comes this paradigm shift that will begin to heal.
Mhm.
All right, I see the dancing. I'm done.
As you were talking, all of these stories and things that was just coming to my mind. And I just thought about, you hear all the time, forgiveness is not for the other person, it is for you so that you can move forward. And I agree with that statement, but I also think there is a part of the acknowledgement. You
Mhm.
have to. I just thought about a story, a friend of mine, and I've been in the same situation, so I can share the story
Mhm.
as if I went through it too, where she was offended and hurt by a friend,
Mhm.
and immediately her thought was, I'm too old for this. I'm not going to deal with this. I don't have to deal with them. We don't have to get together anymore. Although she loved that individual
Mm.
and she loved being with that individual, she loved hanging with that individual. But because of the egregious act, she thought, it's over. I'm done with it. And I said, how many times have we been in that situation? Someone has done something, said something, hurt us, and we are ready in that moment to cut them off. And it's so, as you were saying, I just made me think about it's so easy to say, I'm done. I don't need this. I'm walking away. But deep down in your heart, it's a reason why that thing hurts you so bad because you love them and you want that relationship and you don't want that relationship to end, but it is easier to walk away than to acknowledge the hurt. And we were talking about it and I said, "Well, why don't you just call them and have this conversation? Why don't," and I'm not talking about, because I've done it too. I've been there. And well, why don't you just tell her what happened? And she said, well, I guess I can. I said, yeah, you should. Call her. And then and she said, well, I'm gonna let her know, but you don't know what. Yeah, but call her. Have the conversation. And then I followed up with her, did you have the call? And she said, yeah, and we're all good now.
Mhm.
And I said, isn't it amazing? We are so quick to just cut it off instead of dealing with the conflict. We don't like the conflict resolution.
Mm-mm.
We don't want the confrontation.
Mhm.
It is easier just to cut the person off. And if we go through life doing that, I think you said it earlier, Kelly, we're just leaving a bunch of bodies behind.
Mhm. Mhm.
And guess what? We're going to meet that same
Yeah.
body somewhere else. So for me, the healing to this is because, as you were mentioning, it will eat us up inside. You can't sleep at night. You're constantly thinking about what was done to you, how hurt you are by it. There is a cure to it, and the cure is confrontation.
Period.
Let's have the conversation. And I always like to start it with, I feel when you did X.
Mm.
I don't want to make it about you. I want to
Mhm.
make it about me.
Mhm.
I feel when you did this, this is how that made me feel.
Mhm.
But here's the problem with that. The response on the other end may not be what you want. You may not get that, I'm sorry. I
Mhm.
didn't mean to make you feel that way. And I think that's a part of us not having the confrontation because we've had it in the past where we may not have gotten the response
Mhm.
that we wanted. But I'm gonna stop.
You don't want the rejection.
Exactly.
Right. Or the hurt
Exactly.
feelings. Okay, so you acting like you knew I had a very similar situation. So you acting like you knew me a couple years ago because I had that situation, and it changed our dynamics as a friend, as friends. It took us a minute to even come back to speaking
Mm-hmm.
because we were both so hurt. And we were close. I
Mm.
mean, we were spending 16 hours a day.
Mhm.
We get up, what you want to do today? I don't know, let's go shopping, or let's go do this. And, we would spend 12, sometimes 16 hours, and somebody got in the middle of it,
Mm.
the relationship, um, and caused a dissension. And it took us a minute to finally come back. We're not fully where we used to be, but we're still there. We'll still text each other. It's almost like a relationship,
Mhm.
that you love somebody and you just can't get back to what you used to have. But I'm just grateful and thankful that, as mature women, sometimes you can't get back to what it used to be. But I'm just grateful she's still in my life.
Mm.
Now, a flip side is my experience is when you lose a loved one
Mhm.
and there are things that have not been said, or things that needed to be said, but you decide not to that resolution, not to go there because you don't know how they're going to take it. You don't know if they're going to understand what your feelings are about that one or how they made you feel, and then they pass on.
Mhm. Mm.
And you can't even grieve appropriately because you're holding on or things are now festering inside and you don't know how to release it. Um, you don't necessarily need to have someone to understand or agree with you, but just be there to hear and listen.
Mhm.
Um, I struggled with that. I struggled with that. And I now look back and say, wow, I've come a long way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 So, and the beautiful thing is you were willing to come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the beautiful thing is even with the relationship you were talking about, as far as, we text, it's not what it used to be. Um, just personally, just from one friend to another, I would say, um, that journey is not over yet.
Mhm.
And the beautiful thing about that is it doesn't have to be the old relationship. It can be a new relationship
Right.
and it could be a better relationship. And that's what, like, that would be my expectation. And, the fact that we're still texting means that let me do some olive branches and let me be open enough to say, I really want this to be better than what it
Mm,
is right now.
mhm.
Um, One of the things that even both of us or all of us said, as the putting our head in the sand or don't speak about it and all this kind of stuff. And so the question is, why do we do that?
Mm.
Why do we not say something? You said it a couple of reasons. Why do we not say anything? Why do we keep that? Why do we say I'm too old for this? I mean, that's a cop out. I'm just gonna say that. So why is that?
I think there's so many reasons why we kind of touched on it a little bit. We don't want to be rejected.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to be further hurt by that individual by not acknowledging your hurt. Uh, and I've even seen it where, that term gaslighting or that person makes it feel like, no, that's just you. I wouldn't do that. All right. So their response, and sometimes you can even play it out in your head. Oh, I know if I tell them this is how they're going to respond. So it is you automatically thinking about or playing that situation out in your head how things are going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the rejection. And then it's just fear, fear of the unknown. So I think there are many reasons why we don't face the individual, we don't have the conversations, and it could be your history, those triggers,
Mm-hmm.
past experiences. There's so many reasons as to why we don't.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it is not having the tools.
Mhm.
I don't know, like I'm willing, I just don't know how to say this.
Yeah.
Or if you had the words to say, would you do it? "Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, let me, if someone said it to you, like, oh, I could use that. Let me use that. But I also feel like there may be a sense that you have a lack of control. Like you may feel like it's going to elevate.
Mhm.
Um, even to physical. Like, Lord forbid, they fight in here. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
But just maybe a lack of control. Also, why is it that because I can't remember which one said, but the fear of conflict. What does that mean? Why is there a fear of conflict? Because I love how you said you have to accept, you may not use these words, but you have to accept that there is going to be, in order to get through this, there has to be a conflict. Like you have to meet. and we have to talk. There has to be a mic. So this is how I feel when this happened, you know, and whether that's a rejection or not. But what is the conflict situation? Where is that fear? Is it that I think I might go too far?
I think it may also be just not being understood.
Mm. Like
Um,
you won't be able to articulate where they will understand?
you can it can be articulated, but making sure the other person understands how you really feel, or in maybe some cases how they made you feel,
Mm.
and not wanting to offend,
Mm.
but this is just how I feel.
That's good.
And so wanting them to hear you, and not take offense. Um, we all want the roses. We don't want to hurt people. We don't want to offend people. And sometimes it's just easier to gloss over it. But we know what happens when you keep glossing over and you keep glossing over. You're just building, the wound is getting bigger and big.
Mhm.
It's a silent wound that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
We had a discussion earlier
Mhm.
where, and then something is said that could be very minute, and it's the explosion.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
But had we had just attacked it when it was small,
Mhm.
you could move on.
Ruminate. That's the word.
Oh, go ahead.
That's the word.
Okay,
I was
go ahead, teacher, with the vocabulary words today.
if you
Today
did
we're
what he
gonna
was
learn.
The word of the
So,
day
the word of the
is
day.
ruminate. No, that's it. Because he was like when he was small, but instead I ruminated on it for years. Sorry.
All right, this must be Black History Month. We're gonna learn some new words.
Oh my gosh. I'm done.
Too
I'm
funny,
done.
too
I
funny.
think I just got offended right now.
You said it. I was like, that's the word. You said it. I was like, ruminate. That's the word. Because
That's good.
you said it starts small. That's when you should
Oh,
have been
man.
dealing with it, but you didn't. And then there's explosion years later because all this time you've been ruminating on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
acting as if nothing happened,
Yeah.
and it happened. It's just, do you want to touch it right now?
And I think many times you just say, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going, I'll let it pass. I'll give them a pass. We're not going to worry about it. Not a big deal. But you don't realize those little things get bigger and bigger and bigger until the explosion. And then you're all looking like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just a misunderstanding. It's just a simple that is not what that person meant or said. It's just a misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
But because we don't get that understanding, now you have all these different types of feelings about that person
Yeah.
Yeah.
that they don't even know about.
I also feel like there is the other person may have a type of I don't know if this is the right word, aggressiveness,
Mm,
and you don't want to walk into those fireworks. And so maybe you're kind of waiting for the best time
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
to say it,
Mm.
uh, because there is, and it could be, you can be a strong person, but that doesn't mean that at times you don't feel intimidated, right,
Right.
by the other person. Um, or there is a loyalty or an honoring that you have of that other person, and you don't want to hurt feelings. In order to get this out, feelings are about to get hurt, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, you just made me think about that when you said the honoring and the loyalty and all that. I had a disagreement with my sister that kind of blew up way bigger than it should have been because of our relationship. So sometimes it can be positional
Mm-hmm.
because I am the older sister and she is the younger sister. So we have these roles that we play. And she had gotten to the point that, okay, I'm no longer in that role anymore as the baby sister. And I hadn't accepted the fact that we had switched roles. I hadn't accepted that
That's
yet.
good to hear.
So we had an offense that changed our complete dynamic. And I had to see her different, and she had to see me different. And we had to come to that agreement at the table.
Wow.
And it changed. So as you said, the forgiveness took place, but the relationship will no longer be the same as it was, in the sense of me seeing her as my baby sister. I now see her as the strong, independent woman that she is, and may not always need my feedback and my input. But little shifts like that happens in relationships, it can change the entire relationship to where you feel like it can't be restored, but you have to come to an understanding. Our roles have changed.
I like that. You have to come to an understanding. I feel like if we understood that it has to be a meeting,
Mhm.
that what we're trying to do right now is just trying to get a deeper understanding of what is happening. Why do I feel? I mean, apparently we had a good relationship. Apparently, I
Mhm.
wouldn't be hurt, So what happened? I was talking to a friend the other day and some stuff had happened and she was so grieved because they were so close. She did not understand what happened because that friend ghosted her.
Mhm.
And and then when they did talk, that friend acted as though nothing had ever happened. And it was just so much hurt. Um, yeah, it's crazy. I think about how what you said about positioning. So, okay, so I'm going to share this, but I'm going to say to any family member that's watching this that if you are offended by what I'm about to say, know that I love you. Um, and I'm asking you for your forgiveness. It is not my intent to hurt. I just want to say this thing. You said the thing about positioning. And I am married to the baby of my husband's family.
Mhm.
So I'm tell you, I know that dynamic. You hear me?
Yes, yes.
And I am the wife of the baby. And just to stand back and kind of watch the dynamics. And so something like that happened to my husband, and some things were said to him because of the dynamics. You're going to do it this way. It's kind of like a parental kind of way.
Absolutely.
And he had to put his foot down on some stuff. And I know that hurt the elder
Mhm.
sibling. I know it did. To this day, I know it did.
Mhm.
But I feel like the elder sibling, because of the position, is what is the word? Felt disrespected.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to this day is feeling disrespected by that. And my prayer is that they come together and talk because there's so much love. There's such a deep love. There's such a deep love.
Yeah.
But because of the deep love and because of the respect and because of the honor and because, if we go there, it's going to explode. And because of that, everyone keeps to their corner in the boxing ring. And then,
Yeah.
so then there's no movement. There's never any kind of movement. And then when family comes together, that's never talked about.
Mhm.
It's glossed over, as someone said, but it's still there. And really what that was what you said, the changing of dynamics. Yeah, he's grown now.
Yep.
He got quite a few kids and got, a couple of mortgages and made some decisions, some very successful decisions in his life, and some bad decisions, and dealt with that, and whatever the case may be. But that dynamic it changed because it came to a head, and there
Mhm.
was no way for that relationship to continue in that dynamic anymore, right? And so, yeah, my prayer is that there is a coming together, and that the fear of explosion, uh, that people understand that they have a sound mind,
Right. Mhm.
and that there is a way to control. There are tools, there are words that can be said. There's too much love will cover all of that
Yes.
if you focus on that and just trying to have a new relationship.
Mhm.
Like the expectation is we are going to have a new relationship. But yeah, when you said that, I was like, wow.
And I know that feeling because I'm the eldest, so I know what they're feeling. I understand what they're feeling because, as you said, it is
Oh,
parental
it's parental. Mhm.
because I've done for you your entire life. I've always been there for you. I've given you advice. I've done that.
Mhm.
So
Excuse me?
it's hard to make that transition. It's very hard to make that transition. But in order to save the relationship, can't go back to that one. But our new relationship, we can move forward. We can move forward. But
Mm,
yeah, understand it completely, walk through it, walk through all of that. Um, and you you got that piece, but then you got the other side of the aspects of everybody else in the family. What are their thoughts on this? You know, 'cause
Right.
everybody got a piece
Everybody got an
that they
opinion.
got to say.
everybody got opinions.
Got them opinion.
But that is it's the but it's all about why are we hurt so bad? Because there's so much love.
That's it.
So that's why you're hurt because see, I can expect somebody that doesn't know me. They could do something, whatever, and we can move forward and move on. Okay, because I didn't trust you in the first place.
Mm.
I have no investment in you.
Mhm.
I already knew what our relationship was.
Yes,
Right.
I
but
had
for
to make
those
the
that you truly love
Mhm.
and that you poured into and
Mhm.
you've invested,
Mhm.
that's why the hurt is so strong.
Mhm.
That's why it's the challenge. And we say the word that love hides a multitude of fault, but there's a work that has
Oh,
to
it's a
be
work.
done. There's a work.
And time.
Yeah, and time.
Work
Yes.
and time.
Yes.
Uh,
And sometimes that time is time. It can
Mhm.
take a couple years.
Yes. Yes.
It can take a couple years. Family sometimes can hurt you
Mhm.
pretty deeply. Um, and we can be selfish,
Yeah.
just like what you've been saying. We're in our own corners and we're all meeting in the middle with the boxing gloves on. And no one is hearing, no one's listening. And the thought of love is kind of out the window.
love. Well, I guess I love it.
I don't want to be too transparent, but I have a loved one that I love tremendously. Um, and we've struggled over the years. And I'm not gonna, there's no finger pointing.
Mm-hmm.
No finger pointing because that's not important. It's not important who's right or wrong. It is bringing back the relationship. And I also have to understand and learn that it's not an overnight thing. As much as it pains me, it's not an overnight thing. And, it's my prayer that we'll be able to come back together
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because neither one of us getting any younger,
Mhm.
especially when you're 7 years older than me.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but, and quit sweating the small stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
Small stuff is
Mhm.
small stuff. It's
Mhm.
dirt. It's
Mhm.
dirt. We sweep it up and we throw it away. But love and family is the most important. And so, what I've had to do is I've had to even check myself. You know, what are you holding on to? Is it important?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does it benefit you? No, because what's most important is my loved one.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I don't want to get a phone call.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then now you say, we could have worked this stuff out a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Unforgiven being in a place where you are not, and I feel like there's forgiveness, but then you still have to be willing. We said that. And being in a place where you're unwilling will take you back to a place of being not having forgiven, right?
True.
Right.
Um uh and that is not a healthy place to be. Earlier we were talking, kind of talking about this, and I was saying, forgiveness is like, giving yourself permission to heal. And it's like going to the physical therapist because sometimes something's broken and your legs are broken,
Mhm.
and you're in a wheelchair and you have to learn how to walk again. And that takes time.
Yeah.
Layers. There's layers.
It's layers. You're
There
gonna
are
be sweating.
layers.
You're
You
gonna
don't fix
be
one area, not the other part. What the heck?
Right.
muscles gonna be hurting.
Mhm.
Muscles you didn't know you had.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Areas you didn't know that was there.
Mhm.
Um, and then when you are able to get out that wheelchair again and walk in your freedom, that also does not mean that every once in a while you won't get a twinge. You're like, "Oh, wait,
Mhm.
wait." I was at the gym the other day, y'all, and so
The firefighter.
no. You're gonna laugh though. Okay, so y'all, 3 years ago, I guess. I'm at the gym, I'm working out, and I hurt myself, hurt my hip. And so I was like, man, and I go back, it started to feel better in a couple of days, went back and took a stretching class because I'm thinking, stretch it out. Oh man, that was the wrong thing to do. That night, about 2 a.m. in the morning, when I say I was running around this town looking for some narcotics.
Ring, ring.
I was at the hospital and the wait was long, and I was like, oh, and I told my husband, just take me away from him. I started calling folks. I'm coming over to your house. I know you got some narcotics here.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
I
My
was,
goodness.
I was hurting so bad. But then finally I got to see the doctor, and he gave me something to band-aid it
Mhm.
while it healed,
Mhm.
right? And sometimes we look for that too, right?
Yep.
Like, I'm talking to him and I'm still hurting. It's like, okay, so I understand what it is. And so he gives me a shot and then the pain goes away. But because of the trauma
Mhm.
of it, right? Because I think that that's a layer, or that's a face of the process
Right.
of it, right?
Forgiveness, yes.
Because of the trauma, I will never forget that feeling.
Mhm.
And so the other day I was at the gym and I'm working out, and I feel just a twinge. I said, oh, wait, no, we can't do this one.
Mhm.
Because I am not going back there anymore. So
Mhm.
let me make sure that I have my formation correct, because I will never find myself in that place again. And that is the same thing as, just making sure that in this new relationship, in this newfound freedom that I have, that I'm very careful when I feel that twinge. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, I don't wanna go there anymore. Let me address that. Let
Mhm.
me address that. Let me make sure that my form and my sound mind is correct. Let me make sure that I'm showing love, because this relationship is so important to me that I do not want to go back there.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I'm not gonna, allow that to happen. So let's talk about this right now, because we're not gonna let it ruminate.
So can I be inappropriate? So when she said about that twinge and that back pain, well, in that same area, somebody got the back pain at the same time, and another one had another back pain.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
then we all decided to go do a stretching class, and that didn't work. So we forgave the person that put us in that pain. T, T, you know who you are. Is it TC?
Yeah.
TC, she's wonderful, but
You know what? It wasn't even her fault. It was because we was over there talking and we were not in the right form.
oh, that personal tread us. Oh,
Too
sorry,
funny.
that was inappropriate. I'm sorry, but
Too
hey,
funny.
we did forgive her. We did go back. We did go back again and again and again for more pain, more pain, more pain.
So when we're talking about with our listeners, because we came up with like multiple examples of areas of forgiveness, how do you move forward after you've acknowledged, you talked through it? How do you move forward? And I want to go back to the one when the family member is no longer living. How do you have closure in that moment? How do you have closure in that forgiveness?
For me, it was a couple things. I had a trusted friend. And there were times in that week I may call 3 or 4 times, just crying,
Hmm.
just crying, just crying. Um, and I had to pray. I had to pray my way through it because at times it was so heavy. I wanted to release it. I didn't want to hold on to it.
Right.
And I didn't know how to release it in a healthy way. Um, I couldn't talk to that loved one because they weren't here anymore. But I'm, and I had a younger brother, and he knew what I was going through and was very supportive as well, and father too. But yeah, I had a trusted friend, and if it wasn't for God,
Mm.
and then I put myself into therapy.
It's important to have community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and um, it's important to be open to seeing it another way.
Mm.
So you have to be looking for the unexpected peace that comes from, and I want to point out also, like, what you see here with Kelly in the situation or with me earlier, whatever. That's not the picture of unforgiveness.
Oh,
That's
no.
just a picture of still working through the grief of it.
Yes, yes.
And believe it or not, what you saw for me was still something that is, even though that's the grief of it, I am still open to working on it, right? And that, in my opinion, is how you move forward. Like, yes, I know that I'm hurting. I'm accepting that I'm hurting, but I'm also accepting that it's going to be better tomorrow. And in prayer and in speaking to those in your community, you find that there's another way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that's what brings about the peace. The wisdom. There's a wisdom that comes from um, even the pain. There's a wisdom that comes from um, walking it out. There's a wisdom that comes from others that may have been through, or others that are not in the situation. They're looking in, because a lot of times, you don't want to talk to somebody because you don't, but they're on the outside looking in, and they're like, but have you seen it this way? Or have you ever thought that they may have been feeling, the other person
Mhm.
may have been feeling this way? And it kind of gives you this shift in thinking, and that, and in new relationships. And what that also means is the two individuals become new.
Right.
Like, I am no longer that old person
Mhm,
anymore.
mhm.
So that's the process. That's where the unexpected peace comes. My meaning in life is not to be in this under this load. That is
Mhm.
not, I'm not
Right.
going to be here thinking about my loved one like this.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to do that. That's how it's better for me when I
Right.
forgive. I refuse to be this way. I refuse to be laying down and waking up in this sadness. I'm not
Mhm.
going to do that.
Right.
And so that's how I move forward. And now, because of that, my focus is looking for things that's going to better it, listening for things that's going to better it, saying things that's going to better it, speaking life into this right here.
Mm-hmm.
That though that is the walking it out. Like
Right.
I'm walking, like it feels good to be better in this right here. It feel to even say that, right?
Right.
That's how I move forward. You know.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
And also is taking ownership.
Mhm.
You got to take ownership.
Right.
You know, you have to look at both of the situations and even look to see where you may not have been correct and taking ownership of that. And if that relationship is important to you, that you have that talk with that individual and say, hey, I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was wrong. And let me tell you why I was wrong.
Mhm.
You know, so if you're wanting to forgive, you know, you also have to forgive yourself, but you also have to make sure that you're being fair.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
It's not about who's going to win this argument or who's going to win, you know, but being fair and nurturing that relationship so that as you're moving forward, hopefully you're not going to be keep
Mhm.
repeating those same, you know, those same issues. But we have to be fair and
Absolutely.
we have to take accountability.
Yeah. So y'all said a lot of things. You highlighted prayer.
Mm.
You highlighted accountability, therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add to that, if that loved one is not here, sometimes even just writing a letter
Mm-hmm.
to them
Yes.
and reading that letter,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe they hear us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They hear us.
Mm-hmm.
So that you are, because the thing about unforgiveness, if it stays here, it affects the entire body.
Right.
So being able to, that's a form of releasing, getting it out, and just having it in the atmosphere
Mm-hmm.
so that you can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
What about the ones that we are still dealing with? How do we deal with the ones that we have issues with, whether it be family members that are still here and friends, and how do we deal with that? How do we move forward in forgiveness?
Holding on, as you said, it doesn't do well with your body. And it's easy to forgive. Not always. But what is more important? Holding on to it? Or is it important for you to be healthy to let it go? And in my situation, I've let the small stuff go. It's not even important. What's important to me is having a healthy relationship with that individual.
Mm.
I've already forgiven. I've forgiven a long time ago. So that's not what I'm holding on to. I'm just waiting for them to come and release,
Mm-hmm.
or at least be willing to talk about what their issues or concerns are,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know, whether they're real or not.
Mm-hmm.
But love.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times we're motivated, but we don't do the activity,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Why? Why do you
Because
think?
shoot, I can sit here and
It's a hard
write
work.
a whole bunch of stuff. Now I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna write a letter. send it out.
You gonna hold me accountable now?
Yeah, all of a sudden you got these visions like, ooh, I see we running together and there's love and stuff in the air, everything, beautiful music or whatever. You're motivated. But then when it comes to the act, and that's with anything, not just forgiveness, just period.
Yes.
You're very motivated. You go to the seminar, you're just like, yeah, and then you go home like, you're looking at the notes like, okay, I'm gonna get there. And it's next year, right? 2 years from now. But just remembering that you actually have to do the walk.
Yep.
You have to do the activity. There are in the situations, I'm thinking of one situation now. And you need a plan. Especially these kind of situations.
You do.
Really, if you're in it and it's been a minute, you have to plan. And right now how you're going to do it. But I would admonish if y'all are in it, if you're not doing this, and anybody who's listening, that okay, that's nice that you have a plan, but when are you going to do it? As opposed to saying, oh, okay, I'm gonna do it next week, or I'm gonna do it later this week, or I'm gonna do it next month. No, like date and time. Date and time, and literally put it on the calendar. Or what do y'all do? These vision boards?
Vision boards.
Maybe you need a forgiveness board. I'm going for all these people right here. Hopefully it ain't too many, but okay. But all right. But put the folks on there, and this is the vision.
Yeah.
You got a vision of them, you hugging them and everything. It's true love,
Restoration.
Reconciliation. Right? But there is joy after forgiveness.
Yes.
There is
Absolutely.
joy
Yeah.
after even the grief of the matter.
Yes.
There's joy in the midst of the grief.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you can see the benchmarks, right? You can see how far, if you stop and you look, you can see how far you've gone. And that is a pursuit of happiness in itself, right?
Absolutely.
That you've overcome.
That you're overcome, right? And so in those things that, to answer your question, those things that we're in, if we situations that we're in the midst of it, if you have already made a decision that you're going to forgive, then you have done the hard thing.
Right.
All right. But then the next thing requires activity also, right? And so, but always look back and see how far you've come, so that you can continue to go forward, right? And know that this is working. It's working. I would say to, my call to action for the people who are listening is, if you are a person that you're quiet, you go to your space when you're hurt, someone hurts you, you just kind of ghost, or you kind of just stop the calls. You just, you just stop talking. You do the silent treatment, whatever those things are. You feel like you're too grown for this. You're too much of a leader for this. You're too much, whatever. But you're still hurting. I would say that first of all, you have to stop kidding yourself. And you have to give yourself permission to be vulnerable.
Like that.
You have to be vulnerable and give yourself permission. If you don't feel like you're ready to talk to the person, which is real feelings, right? Talk to somebody that you feel safe with, that is of sound mind. Because some people you go and be like, I wouldn't do that either. Forget that person, but go
I
to
never
someone.
liked that person anyway. No.
Anyway, I was trying to tell you all the time.
Forgiveness.
Not that person. Don't go to that person.
No.
Oh my God. Because then that person can be your accountability partner.
Yeah.
Right.
And can call you out and say, so did you do what you said you were going to do that we talked about?
Yes.
A person that you trust, right? That's going to tell you the truth, so that you can move through and not, as you said, leave bodies. All them bodies.
All the bodies.
Get you a
There's
plan
one
together.
common denominator with all those bodies.
They're all coming from. But yes. Any other call to actions that you would?
I love what you said about the joy. There is a joy, and there's a joy in knowing, gosh, I have, like you mentioned, overcome that.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned community. It is so, surround your people, yourself with people who will hold you accountable, who will not let you linger in unforgiveness.
Right.
It's too painful.
Right.
You got to have that, those people, just like you have those people that make you go to the gym. Let's go work out. Let's go. You got to have that. You got to have that tribe. You got to have that village. And you've got to continually, the prayer and faith and understanding that real love requires action and requires work.
Right. Yeah.
And you just cannot throw in the towel and give up.
Right.
Do the work of forgiveness.
Any other call to action? I probably said it all, right?
What more can I say?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for listening to our podcast, HERpresence podcast. And we are so excited that you're always listening in. We ask that you share with your families and friends, that you subscribe, that you like. Again, we are on all major podcast stations. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, you name it. And so we hope that we see you next time. So guess what, y'all? So hopefully you saw our podcast about the single and dating. We had women, right? Well, we're going to have men next time. So you want to make sure that you tune in. All right. Thank you so much.